your scuba gear on. Let's go swim with the dolphins.
Oh, here they come! Dolphins are perfectly adapted to their environment. They have nothing to do but swim and play all day. They have massive brains. They're incredibly intelligent. If dolphins bought insurance, they'd choose High House.
High House Insurance don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. Try us and see. Call 606 552. High House, local reliable insurance. High Street, Selsey.
Welcome once again to Selsey Internet Radio. This is Keith Barnes, fresh back from a week's holiday, sunburnt and peeling and should have known better. But it's good to be back in the studio and to welcome my first guest this morning, the lovely Lyn Reeve. Morning, Lyn.
Good morning, Keith. How are you?
I'm pretty well, thanks.
Jolly good. What have we got on in Selsey this week then? We're starting off with Tuesday the 5th of May with some ladies netball at the Academy from 7 till 8 p.m. inside the Games Hall. So go along and get fit, have some fun and make some new friends. It sounds pretty good. And call Penny on 07762 922 405 for any more info. Following with Wednesday the 6th of May, the Selsey Carpet Bowls will be at 7 p.m. at the Medbury Primary School, and you can call Sylvia on 681 663 if you fancy having a game of bowls. On Thursday the 7th of May, the Selsey and District Carers will have a coffee morning at 109 High Street from 10:30 a.m. That's the little shop on the corner, the Selsey Carers shop there in the High Street. Practical and emotional support is also offered to all unpaid carers in the community. So if you're looking after somebody at home and you feel that you need a bit of sympathy, a bit of emotional support, then please go along and have a little chat with them. They're really good at it.
Yeah, it'd be good to get out and have a cup of coffee
and have a
chat,
cup of coffee and a chat. It's always nice to have that little break, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Again on Thursday the 7th of May, Seal Island WI will be meeting at 7:30 p.m. in the Selsey Centre. And for further information on that, you can telephone 01243 604 059. Again on Thursday, it's a busy day, isn't it?
Thursday,
yeah, Thursday in Selsey, it all happens. A quiz night at the Fisherman's Joy starts at 8:30 p.m. and I do like their quiz nights. I have been to one or two. They're good fun, so get along there and make some friends and have a bit of fun there. I never win anything and I can never answer all the questions, but it's just nice to have a try, isn't it?
Yeah, they're a bit of fun quiz nights.
Yeah, yeah.
Indeed.
On Friday the 8th of May, the Selsey Horticultural Society will be holding their next meeting at 7:30 p.m. at the Selsey Centre, and the speaker for the evening will be David Field, who will be telling all about the incredible honeybee and how gardeners can help. Local honey will be for sale, and you can contact Amanda Cope for further details on 604 634. It's amazing how many people you talk to about bees and they say, oh, we'll never kill a bee. I'll never kill a bee. Nobody kills bees, do they?
No, they don't.
It's
no.
wonderful, isn't it?
They give the wasps some, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't even know where in the food chain the wasps are. I'm sure they're useless things.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what they're
just
for.
throw it in the mix to annoy people.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Stop you eating outside on a sunny day and stuff like
Possibly. On Saturday the 9th of May, the first Selsey Scout group in School Lane will be open from 10 to 12 noon, when they will be selling bric-a-brac, books, clothes, etc., and donations of saleable quality goods are always welcome. Delivered to the shop on Saturday morning, and they'll be gratefully received. And also on Saturday the 9th of May, you've got the wonderful Venture Club garage sale. That's adjacent to the co-op round the back there, and that's open from 9 o'clock to 12 noon, and I know that you can always pick up a bargain at the Venture Club. Apparently last week we were wrongly informed of a date for the Thespian cricket match, and that's now going to be held on Sunday the 10th of May and not the 3rd of May as we reported last week, and that's going to be held at the Selsey Cricket Club, the Thespians cricket match.
Yeah, awfully fine, splendid.
Yes,
wonderful.
Do come along.
Well,
thank you, that's all for this week.
Well, there's quite a lot there, Lyn. People of Selsey should have plenty to do.
Yes, thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Lyn. See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye. Now, just while we've got a quiet minute, and just to prove that Selsey Internet Radio does serve the listeners, I've got let's hear from Debbi. Now, Debbi, the Seamstress, who's got her place down off the back of the high street there. And in November time, she had a bit of a problem when there was a case of mistaken identity, and because of it, her business suffered. So if you don't mind, I'll just read this letter out from Debbi. Hi Keith, it's Debbi the Seamstress. Hope you don't mind me dropping you a few lines of thanks for your interest and concern over my dilemma back in November last year, when my small business suffered due to a case of mistaken identity. I just thought you might like a little follow-up. From your interview with me, which you kindly aired on Monday the 17th of November in 2014, my latest situation is my business and service I provide and love for Selsey Town has made a slow but steady recovery, and I would like to thank you and your listeners to help right a very important wrong. Thanks to people for sharing on Facebook and kind comments from Heather Skinner of Creative Lettings and the boys of E2 Hair Salon. Just like to say thank you all once again, and that's from Debbi the Seamstress down the High Street. So we did a little piece because there was a mix-up and it wasn't Debbi's fault and her business was suffering, and that's a little letter of thanks to say she's getting back on the right track. So we're very pleased to hear that, Debbi, and I wish you well for the future. Now, if you'd like to help us help the community, we're looking for some more sound editors. Now, to do this, you need to be able to use Audacity software, which is a sound editing package, and have a couple of hours a week to spare. So if you're interested in that, you can contact me, Keith Barnes, at keithbarnes49@aol.com, keithbarnes49@aol.com. Drop me a line, let me know you're interested, and I'll get back to you, and we'll take it from there. Now, not unusually for me, I'm going to be talking a bit of rubbish. Well, nothing new there, I hear you say, and you're probably right, of course. This week, however, I'm going to be talking about our rubbish, not just the stuff we throw away in our wheelie bins or recycle bins or garden waste bins, but the stuff we take to the tip or the dump, or call it whatever you will. I just happened to be visiting East Beach car park last Friday to dispose of some bits and bobs after I've been clearing out the garage, and I went down there to put them in the containers that the council provide every week. And I was amazed at the amount of cars coming and going from the site. Well, while I was there unloading my car and being helped as usual by the guys that are down there, is so helpful. One of the chaps came up to me and said, can I give you this piece of paper? And it was information about the change to times, because from the beginning of May, they're going to be doing it on a Friday and a Saturday. Now, the Friday service will be shortened by a couple of hours, but it'll be open on Saturday. Now, of course, that will give people that work Monday to Friday the opportunity to use the facility as well, which up to yet they may not have done, although it is very busy down there. But of course, this opens up several trains of thought. Will this actually increase the amount of users of the facility and therefore increase the amount of cars coming and going over the 2 days, or will it just spread the load, as it were, over 2 days? Will it deter visitors from using the car park on Saturdays and reduce the amount of visitors to the area, thereby affecting the local business? I mean, I don't know the answer to this. These are just questions that sprang into my mind. And how will it affect the people living in close proximity to the site? I mean, they have to put up with an awful lot of traffic on a Friday, but a lot of them are at work, so it's not so bad. But at weekends, of course, there are more vehicles parked on the road leading to the site, which will make access and the movement of large vehicles quite a bit more difficult. And just a little bit of rubbish information about the amount of traffic, etc., created by this service. On a normal Friday, they expect in excess of 1,000 vehicles, 1,000 vehicles to be entering and leaving the site. And on the Friday after Good Friday, nearly 1,500 vehicles attended the site to dispose of their rubbish. I mean, it's an incredible amount of traffic. On an average Friday, we managed to fill 8 or 9 containers, each of which is capable of holding around 40 cubic yards of rubbish. And the average weight, I believe, is about 8 to 9 tonnes of rubbish in each. So, it doesn't take a lot of working out. Now, the landfill tax for that is around £80 per tonne. So that's between £5,000 and £6,000 for that day, just in landfill tax. So, if you think your council is spending a fortune on rubbish, you're absolutely right, they are. And that's £5 or £6 grand is only what it costs to actually tip the waste. It's nothing to do with the transport, nothing to do with the manning of the site and the cleaning up afterwards and all that sort of stuff. That's just to tip the waste. So you can imagine that's a tremendous amount of expenditure. What makes me wonder is, where does all the rubbish come from? We're doing this every week. Every week we're throwing away tons and tons and 50 or 60 tons of rubbish that we're not putting in our wheelie bins or our dust bins or our garden bins. So where is all this? You people in Selsey, me included, must be spending a fortune replacing the items that you keep throwing away every week. Well, it's just a line of thought. So, and I'd be very interested for you to contact me, and I'll give the details out later, and let me know what you think about it. Right, bye for now on that one. Right, my next guest in the studio this morning is Julian Lindsey Clark. Now, Julian runs the Selsey Folk and Music Club. I believe that's correct, Julian, isn't it?
Correct, yep.
Absolutely right. Well done. And now I know nothing at all about folk. I do know something about music, but I know very little about folk music. So I've got a lot of questions that I'd like to ask. And I'm sure Julian's going to fill us in with loads of information. So this will be informative for not only for you, but for me as well. So Julian, tell us a little bit about the history of Selsey Music and Folk Club.
Well, what it was that I've always been keen on music because our mother was in a harmony singing group on the stage in the 30s, and she sang, you know, at the Palladium and all sorts of places, touring around with George Formby and people like that. And they sang lovely harmony, mostly folk stuff, a bit like a kind of English Andrews Sisters. Anyway, then they joined the Land Army, and that was the end of the singing, really, except that we always used to hear them singing at parties and things during our childhood. And then as we grew up, Mother taught us a bit about harmonies and guitar playing and that sort of thing. She taught us a few chords anyway. And when I retired down here, I thought I'd like to start a folk club or music club, and I went to the Seal and they let us play there. And that was good, but now they've got no back room, and it dwindled out a few years back. So I thought we'd have another go, and we found St Wilfrid's Hall in Church Road.
Yes, I know it well.
And decided to start up again there this year, and we've had about 4 sessions. So that's really how it's got started. We've changed the name we started off with the Selsey Folk Club this time, but we didn't really want to be just folksy.
So I have very limited experience of folk clubs back in the 60s, and when as soon as you walked through the door, everybody went shh, shh. And that's my endearing picture of being in a folk club, which is probably why I've never been back to one. But so this is not just a folk club, this is a folk and music club. Folk and music,
it's basically any sort of music that maybe not really loud because of the restrictions of the hall and neighbours, and it's sort of acoustic based, which is fine. You can still play rock music or anything.
Oh, really. Absolutely. Yeah. So who comes along to it? I mean,
well, we get an amazing variety of people from all age groups. You know, you've got the chance there for young singer-songwriters. A chap came along from Farnham in Surrey the other day and sang 3 songs. First time he'd sung in public, and really enjoyed it. Said it moved him on in his musical thinking, and we enjoyed it. But then you get, we get guitar, fiddle, banjo, ukulele players with plenty of experience.
There's a lot of ukulele players about now, and the ukulele's made a comeback, and very big so. Yeah, it's become very fashionable, and there's lots of youngsters, certainly around Selsey, that are now playing the ukulele because the other things that I do, I've come across, the youngsters that have picked up a ukulele and found it's quite easy to play, and they've worked at it. And of course, kids learn so much easier than they. If I tried to learn to play
the younger you start, the better. I think.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. Now, I mean, if I came along there, am I expected to perform, or can I just come along and?
Well, no. The whole idea is that we get together as music lovers, and you can either sing, play, or just listen and have a drink and sit back and enjoy it.
Sounds like
We
a
also
wonderful
get
idea.
the odd persons come along, 2 or 3 of them, and read some poetry.
All right.
And some of this is written. One chap did a poem called The Selsey Road, which was quite good. It was all about the twists and turns of the Selsey Road.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a mixture, but mainly emphasis on music, of course.
Now, what night of the week, or what nights of the week?
This is on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. The next one's on the 16th of this May. So 3rd Wednesday of the month, that's at Wilfrid's Hall, starts about 7:30.
Okay. So everybody needs to get along there and have a look and a listen and see if it's what they like. I think it's a fabulous idea. I really do.
It's good for Selsey, I think, to have something like this.
Absolutely,
a chance to perform.
Yeah. Now, is there any professional input? I mean, have you got any professional musicians down there that are guiding people along? Or
well, what we're doing is just taking it easy to get things going. But we've had to save up to purchase a music license, which we've now got in place, and getting the thing going. But we're now saving up. We charge a couple of quid for everybody when they come to a session.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And we have a raffle and that sort of thing. We just try and raise a few bob and save up for professionals to come and join us. And on the 19th of August in the Selsey Festival, that particular evening, we're going to have Julian Lindsey Clark, who happens to be my young brother.
I was going to say, there must be some connection there.
Yeah, he's... international guitarist.
Okay.
Spanish and classical. So he'll come and he knows some folk pieces and all sorts of things, his own stuff. So he'll come and join in with us and add a bit of professionalism to that event.
Brilliant.
And we'll be looking for others.
Now, what do I need? I mean, if I'm coming down and I'm a guitarist, obviously I need to come down and bring my own guitar. Now, is it kept acoustic? Is it all acoustic that you do?
I mean, if somebody wants to plug in an electric, as long as it's reasonable,
yes,
in
a small reasonable
volume, unfortunately, that's great. It's not a problem, but it tends to be acoustic, really.
Okay.
That's why you find that they do keep a bit quiet between, while people are performing.
Yeah.
And then go mad in between, sort of thing.
That's all right. Well, we've heard what it costs to get in. It's a couple of quid, which is cheap enough now for an evening's entertainment by anybody's standards. Yeah. And you mentioned drinks. Now, what sort of refreshments have you got available?
Well, we have wine and beer, but we can't sell it as such.
No.
So, but people are generous with donations.
You can share it.
We can share it, and we all have a good time.
Yeah, sounds like you do. Yeah. Where can people find out the information? I know you said it's the 3rd Wednesday of every month. Is there somewhere that they can?
On Facebook, if they just Google Selsey Folk and Music Club,
okay,
get everything on there.
So there's a Facebook page for that.
Facebook page, and they can email me if you want my email address. It's julian.lindseyclark@btinternet.com.
And that's Lindsey Clark. No E
on the end.
The people often say to me, because my name's Barnes, and they say, is that with an E? I said, no, actually it's with a B, but there you go.
There are a few things that we could do with, if it's possible to mention those.
Oh, absolutely, yes. If you need something, somebody out there might have it.
First of all, it's a person that would do a bit of drumming for us. Low-key drumming.
I think drummers are fairly scarce. as Dennis, the sound engineer, will certainly reinforce that statement. Yes. Drummers are quite difficult to find in Selsey area, I believe. But
I know one, but he's a bit shy.
Yeah.
Come on, Dave. I'll just mention that.
That's right. Come on, Dave. They need a drummer.
If you're
How
listening.
can you be shy if you're a drummer?
Also, my mate John and I, John helps me run the club, we'd appreciate any donations of things like bongo drums or a kettle drum, tambourines, maracas, shakers, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Just to help the group
I'm sure there'll be some parents somewhere that will be only too pleased to take bongo drums or maracas off their children and donate them to
anything
a worthy
really.
cause.
Any instruments. And obviously for our sessions, the odd raffle prize would be extremely useful.
Yes, I know from other stuff that I'm involved with, getting raffle prizes is never easy because there are so many people in Selsey from different groups that are looking for raffle prizes. Right. To get them is not easy. They usually have to come from your own members. But I'm sure somebody will come up with something and say.
Well, hopefully a few of the members are listening to this.
And if you want to, if any of the listeners feel that they'd like to help out by buying a pair of maracas, I mean, they're not that expensive. So if somebody would like to buy a pair of maracas and donate them to Selsey Folk and Music Club, I'm sure they'll be most gratefully received.
Certainly would.
And the same with any other instruments, really. There are a plethora of ukuleles floating around nowadays, so if you've got a couple of ukuleles stuck in the cupboard that your children no longer want to use, well, donate them, and they may well be used. They may not be in good enough condition or whatever, but unless you try, you don't know. So we'd urge you to do that, certainly.
Great.
Well, I look forward to, I'm going to pop my head in there, I think, perhaps myself, and have a look. And
well, you'll be most welcome, along with the rest of Selsey.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. That's about, I think, 15,000 people we've got to get in that hall then, if they all turn up. But if just...
There's a good car park.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thanks for coming in, Julian. And, I certainly hope that we can help you achieve getting some of the bits that you need and also getting people in, getting people through the door.
That's the idea.
And I certainly will pop my head in through the door if I'm around and about and see how we go. That'll be worth £2 to have a look and see what it's all about. Well, thanks very much. Thank you. Now, I do need to make just a small correction there because the 16th of May is not a Wednesday. It's actually the 20th of May. So the date for the next folk club is on the 20th of May. And we go across now to Dennis Cowan. And Dennis is going to be giving us his wisdom on some of the films that we should or shouldn't watch.
Welcome to another edition of Video Watch with your host Dennis Cowan, where we look at films old and new, and we shall start off with a children's film called Spooky House, made in 2001. And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worthwhile letting the kids have a look at this one. It stars Ben Kingsley and Joshua Scott. It's about a retired magician who lives in a large house or mansion with his pet jaguar. The story centres around a small orphan boy called Max, who is pursued by bullies who are out to get him by any means possible. Max finds himself in the magician's house, much to the annoyance of the magician, who doesn't take kindly to kids. Things start to take a turn that finds both Max and the Great Gamboni coming together to fight off the bullies. Something that will help Max find what he's always wanted. The second film we look at is an historical swordplay thing called The Musketeer. Yes, we've all heard of the Three Musketeers, and it's definitely in that line. This is a film starring Tim Roth and Nick Moran. Basically, it's a retelling of the Three Musketeers, but on the plus side, well-paced with lots of action, including some excellent swordplay done very effectively, because it runs for 100 minutes and it glides through the classic Dumas story, leaving aside slow or fillers, making it an action-adventure, which also has comedy, much like the series being shown on TV, and it's definitely worthwhile. We now move on to the third one, which is The Family. This is a mafia thriller starring Robert De Niro, Tommy Lee Jones and Michelle Pfeiffer. This has the basic plot of a family going into hiding, and they have a contract out on them. They were once members of the mafia family, but they now await to be found. And when they are, all hell breaks loose. There's great acting all round. It's not exactly exceptional, but worth seeing all the same. And we come on to the fourth film I've reviewed, and this is a pretty unknown film. This is called Human Cargo, a 2011 film featuring an unknown cast, really, but competent nevertheless. All the same, story-wise, we have Natasha going to the USA to find a job, only to be snatched by people traders, who will resort to murder or maiming to hide what they do. She is bundled into a van and sold to the highest online bidder. She is desperate and confused and she must escape, and the driver is our only one hope of lifting the nightmare. This is in actual fact above average, and it deserves a watch, so if you do see it around, get it. And then we go on to another film called Incendiary, starring Ewan McGregor and Matthew McFadden. This is a 2009 film that starts with the killing of a man and a boy at a football game, victims of a planted bomb, which makes it sound like this is a bombing campaign similar to the IRA, but actually it's not. This goes a lot deeper. The wife meets Jasper, a wealthy reporter, and they begin an affair. But this only leads to a mystery that sees Jasper investigating the policeman on the bomb squad who has his eyes on the wife. Is there more to this event than just an accidental encounter with a bomb blast? Or was it a plot to involve innocents in order to cover up a darker agenda? Well, this is Ewan McGregor in his usual competent self, and it's definitely worth watching. So if you can catch that Incendiary, do so. And now we go on to a horror film, Blood Creek, a film by Joel Schumacher, who's been involved with Batman and many of the things like many big films. And this is a 2008 horror film, which is unusual for him, and this stars Michael Fassbender. This opens with scenes involving a Nazi war plot to create a creature that cannot be killed, a creature that is locked away at Town Creek with a family in West Virginia. These are a German family. And 70 years later, a man on a mission returns to seek revenge and destroy the blood-seeking paranormal creature by occult means. It moves at a good pace, despite being cliched. So if you see that one and you'd like to sort of spend some time with a horror film of some twists, we'll put it that way, some twists. And now, well, we'll stay with horror just for a little while longer. We have The Reaper. There's quite a few films called Reaper, actually. This is called The Reaper, starring intermittently, and I say that, Tony Todd of the Candyman series, which was a better vehicle for Tony Todd, who starred as the monster of the piece to answer calls of his name through the mirror. This film is about a bunch of aggravating students, what else, who, as a result of a bus ride, find themselves at a disused fairground, haunted by Railroad Jack, a ghostly or zombie-like being who is ready to impose a body count as he quickly dispatches most, if not all, of the kids. Typically an above-the-bar slasher film, it actually moves along too fast for its own good, despite having a decent budget. But if you like a Reaper type thing, this is okay. It's worth a watch on an evening with your little cans of beer, etc. And now let's move to Dark House. This is a recent thing, 2015, starring Tobin Bell of the Saw horror franchise. He does slightly less in this, but he is present through most of it. The director is Victor Salva, who impressed horror fans with Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. And yes, I like both of those two. In this one, he fails to cut it to a standard that he had before. This one does not quite do it like Jeepers Creepers, which is a pity. Even though it has some great ideas, the cast is decent, so it's worth a see. Basically, it's about a young guy who seeks the house where he lived. A house of horror now, with a ghostly, menacing terror that awaits him. He goes with friends, and they are soon the target of an horrific dark force. So, one can... I was a bit surprised that Victor Salva did this. There's no real monsters to talk of, but it's interesting and the quality's good. So we lastly come to Domestic Disturbance, which maybe some of you out there have already seen. But this is the one starring John Travolta in 2001. It's quite superb and a quality film. Tension racks up as Frank Morrison, played by Travolta, begins to suspect that his wife's new man and his son's stepfather, which is confirmed by his son who heads into terrible danger. Is this man a liar and a killer? Travolta plays this well with a steady build-up and a terrific end. And that's about it. But that one is definitely a good film. And let's now turn our attention to the top 20 as dated from the 27th of April. I supplied this top 20 list by Reflex Video in Selsey High Street, so hello there. I haven't had time to sort of review a film from them again, but I may do so in the future. So let us head down this list and begin at number 1, top of the videos. And this I don't actually know about. This is why I should actually go and have a look at some of these films. Number 1 is Exodus, Gods and Kings. I think I've seen some flashes of that on the TV for sale. At number 2, we've got the third Hobbit film, Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. And, well, we all know it's Peter Jackson, and he produces some fantastic pieces. At number 3, we have Night at the Museum 3. Yet another one in the franchise of the museum ones. At number 4, we have The Signal, which I didn't get a look at, so some of you out there probably know what that is. And 5, we've got Dumb and Dumber 2, which is spelled T-O. At 6, we've got The Pyramid, which is a kind of thing to do with mummies. I don't know how good this one is. I've yet to find out. At number 7, we've got Paddington. There we are, that's all I can say on that one. At number 8, we've got The 100-Foot Journey, and I don't actually know what that one. At number 9, we have Zulu. I don't know whether that's a remake of Zulu, but those out there will obviously know. At number 10, we have No Good Deed. I can't say I know much about that one. At 11, we have Frequencies. At number 12, we have Predestination. At 13, we have Supremacy. I don't know anything about that. At number 14, we have Black Sea. And then I think we go with 15 into Comedy with Horrible Bosses 2. At 16, we have Mockingjay Part 1. So obviously there's a number 2 coming. At 17, we have Fury. Another one I don't know. At number 18, we have Interstellar. And then at 19, we have Gone Girl. And right there at the 20th position, we have Before I Go to Sleep. So that is the top 20 list for this week. Now we go on to the films to actually avoid, because they're cheaply made and I don't think you'll find them value for money at all. And the first one is Are You There?, which actually was resold, having been Zozo, and that is just a waste of time. And then we have a film called I'm Stanley, I'm a Filmmaker, The Basement, which I thought would actually be better. But in actual fact, the way that it was filmed was pretty awful, so I can't recommend The Basement at all. We then go on to one called Resurrection of the Mummy, delightfully packaged again with the Egyptian pyramids, and says the evil as a word. But really this is a very ordinary thing. No big scenes of special effects, just a group of people who move near to the pyramids, find a burial. I think you could give that one a miss, because it's not great at all. And then we go to an old film, I think, by the After Dark people, who did have one or two good films, and this is called Tape 407. and this is something to do in the air, flying. I found it nothing on par with some of the other ones they've done, and give it a miss. Well, that's about it for this week, and I will be back with you again next week with a top 20. So, have a good time on your videos. Keep on watching those videos. Bye for now.
Hi and welcome once again to Keithy's Kitchen. Right, we've got some fabulous recipes for you coming up in the next few weeks. Today's one is roast sirloin with fresh horseradish sauce. Now this dish is reputed to have been knighted by an English king after having dined particularly well off a roasted loin of beef. But anyway, that aside. Now this will serve 6, because if you're going to have roast sirloin of beef, there's got to be a crowd of you to enjoy it. And what we need is 1.1 kilos boned and rolled sirloin of beef, 175 mils of red wine, 450 ml of brown stock, preferably veal, and salt and freshly ground pepper. Now for the sauce, we need 150 ml of whipping cream, 45 ml of freshly grated horseradish, about 22.5 mils of lemon juice, and 1.5 to 2.5 mils of prepared English mustard, and some salt and white pepper and a pinch of sugar. Well, the sugar's optional actually. And this is what we do. We place the meat fat side up on a rack placed in a roasting tin, and we cook it at about 230 degrees centigrade, that's 450 Fahrenheit or Mark 8, for about 15 minutes. Then reduce the temperature to 170 degrees centigrade, 325 Fahrenheit or Mark 3, and cook for about a further 40 minutes. That's for rare beef, and baste it once or twice while it's cooking. Meanwhile, blend all the ingredients for the sauce and spoon into a serving bowl. Leave the beef still on the rack in a warm place to settle. Drain off the excess fat from the roasting tin. You remember dipping your bread in? Oh, they'd tell you to kill you nowadays. Place the tin over a medium heat and stir in the red wine, dislodging the sediment stuck in the bottom of the tin, because this gives it a lot of flavour, obviously. Boil until almost completely evaporated, then stir in the stock and boil until reduced to 200 ml. Season and pour into a sauce boat and serve the beef accompanied by the gravy and the horseradish sauce, and of course all your favourite vegetables, your Brussels and your carrots, and oh, it's making my mouth water. Anyway, that's it for this week. Roast sirloin with fresh horseradish sauce. And that is just about it for this week. I'd like to say a great big thank you to our production editor, John Fletcher, and also to our studio manager and sound engineer, Dennis Cowan, and from myself, Keith Barnes. Until we meet again, keep well. Bye-bye now.